Hey, good afternoon, and welcome to another Fireside Friday. As you can see, it's not Padraig today, it's Keith. I've been given the keys of the car, and today we're talking to a really super individual, Lav. Lav is one of the principal engineers in our partners and integrations team. Lav, welcome to Fireside Friday.
Thank you, Keith.
How are you?
Good. Hope everyone as well.
Yeah, the wide audience are all good. Cracking day out there though today, isn't it?
Well, yeah, just sit inside of me.
Yeah, the weather is brilliant. So, Lav, as you know, we bring people on once a week to have a quick conversation about their areas of the business, what interests them, and stuff like that as well. So, as you know, you've been nominated, I think it's 3 or 4 times over the last number of weeks. So, eventually, we get you on Fireside Friday. So, thanks a million for coming on to us.
Had to, I guess.
You came kicking and screaming, though, right?
No, well, that's fine. No, you didn't drag me in.
So, Lav, how long are you with Verizon Connect?
Originally, I joined a small company which was a startup sort of in Australia, but I joined remotely.
Right.
And the company has been bought by Fleetmatics,
Yes.
which later has been bought by Verizon.
Yes.
So that's why I ended up here.
Yeah.
So it's about 9 years, I think.
9 years.
Altogether, yeah.
So when you came in, obviously you didn't come in as the title of a principal engineer.
No.
So at what level or did you join the business?
I think it was, I don't know about seniority. I think it was just software developer.
Yeah.
I don't think there was a great mapping when we joined from that small startup to the Fleetmatics.
Yeah.
It wasn't that great of separation of levels in the Fleetmatics.
Yeah.
So just engineer.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what it would respond to Verizon.
So 9 years of the business, right? So I remember I talked to Jerry Maloney there not too long ago. Great guy. And the amount of changes to which he's seen in the business since he joined. I'm sure you've seen a lot of changes in the business since you've joined.
Yeah, as I mentioned, just 2 acquisitions.
Yeah.
And starting from startup of, I don't know, we had, let's say, a dozen of engineers.
Yeah.
And we joined Fleetmatics, it was hundreds, and now Verizon is bigger than that. So
It freaks you out a little bit when you think about it, doesn't it? Like the size and
I don't know, it just keeps it interesting, I guess.
yeah.
That's why I kind of managed to stick, is the continuous change. I don't know if I would be able to do that given the no changes in the structure or the business company does. So in a way, the startup, which initially I was part of, hasn't been doing anything with it, vehicle tracking.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So apart from the obvious, the acquisitions and stuff like that as well, what would be the biggest changes you've seen happening? Like obviously we've adapted new technologies, we've built this amazing AWS environment and stuff like that. What would be the biggest changes you've seen over the last, let's say, 5+ years or whatever?
I think the most unexpected change was that when Fleetmatics joined Verizon, at least internally, I was ready for kind of becoming a big corporation style environment. And it sort of didn't manage to go into that. I think that was most surprising.
Yeah.
That Peter and team managed to bring that small company mentality into the larger structure of Verizon.
Yeah. And I think it's good we've held on to that. Like, I don't think our culture is sort of diluted in any way, shape, or form. We've grown, but we've managed to keep. I used to recruit for Fleetmatics in the day when I was an agency recruiter. So I always remember telling recruiters about the environment and stuff like that as well. And I don't see, it's probably changed ever so slightly because the business has grown, but I don't see too much change. I think we've managed to keep it. It's like our internal brand as well. It hasn't changed as much.
Yeah, I think key people who were in the company during that transition wanted to carry over all the good stuff we had in a smaller company.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it kind of happened.
Yeah.
I don't know how they managed to do it, but
they did it. That's the main thing.
Mostly, yes, I would say for the most part. Yeah, I don't feel that, apart from certain areas, that we struggle with large corporate organizations.
So Jerry Ordonova, you're in Jerry's organization, so field integration partners. Tell us a little bit about the particular role that you're doing, and what are you working on? Are you working on the reveal? Are you working on the back end? Or what is it your role?
So I recently became a principal engineer for integrations partners, just
Yes.
a bit more than half a year.
Yeah.
The main role is whatever is related to the strategy and the sort of implementation of that strategy, and the vision for integration as partners as part of the company, and what we should be doing.
Okay.
Everything related to technological decisions made or directions which would suit the vision of the tribe within the company. As of now, I work a bit of sideways on the commercial entity project.
Mm-hmm.
So rented over to different teams, I guess it can be.
Yeah. So when you say from a technology point, are you talking about a technology adoption side, as in bringing in new technologies, and or is it from a roadmap perspective?
Including that as well. And
wow.
in a way that, let's say, we know that we have certain goals, what integrations should bring to the company and what value it could deliver to customers. And there are multiple ways to achieve that, obviously, in various set of technologies. So what direction we can take from that side, I guess, is part of my responsibilities.
Wow. Okay. That's a big role.
I mean, you just want a generalized answer.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it trickles down to small decisions here and there, which are including various people as well.
Yeah.
And market counts and comparisons of what we can do.
Okay. So who I know you're reporting into Jerry, but are you in with Alex's team, or are you on a separate team from Alex Wilson and Patrick Fay?
I'm kind of on neither of those teams.
Yeah.
I'm serving both of them.
So you're floating around. So
all four teams under Alex and Ani are kind of related to me.
Yeah.
So I'm not sticking to one.
Yeah. Oh, cool. I gave a bit of a teach back to the EMEA team there a while ago about Reveal and stuff like that as well. And it's a phenomenal product, right? But from a technology point, I mean, what sort of, if there is any developers or anything like watching this, full stack developers watching this now, what's our tech stack like? You know,
I think the vast majority of the services are related to AWS in Amazon. So most of the technology and the direction we're moving is related to leveraging serverless approach as much as possible. From Reveal perspective, I don't know. I think it's, I wouldn't say it's limited, and that's why it kept me involved and engaged for most of the time in Fleetmatics and Verizon now, that you can actually pick whatever you like or bring in new stuff you want. So I always manage to find the technologies I want to work with.
Yeah.
So, and up until recently, including that small startup piece, it was even Azure included. So,
right. Okay. Yeah.
So it's not limited to that. Obviously, now that product goes away and it's not part of the ecosystem anymore, but it still was around for 10 years almost.
Yeah. So you would have been around for the transformational piece. So going from our on-prem, which was a major problem, which we're still going through it, right? But were you involved in any of that, or how did you find the transition from on-prem, a bit of cloud, to being where we are today?
I think most things have moved already for the last 4 months.
Yeah.
So it's not really much left on premises, if anything. I wasn't involved in big and dramatic changes related to the migration, unfortunately. Or fortunately, I don't know, depending on how they go. I read some stories that for integrations in particular, before me and the teams I was in moved to that.
Yeah.
They had some problems with it, but it happened before, so I didn't enjoy that.
Well, I'm sure, like, if you look at the size of our infrastructure to get all that into a cloud environment, I'm sure there would have been teething problems along the way.
I know it was happening for years.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons. And I think the culmination of it was moving core systems like our databases. Usually.
So just to give everybody an idea, we're out to market screaming and shouting when we're hiring, saying we're looking for this, that, and the other, But I mean, so obviously I do a lot of hiring for Gigi Man and Jerry, and so I'm out to market looking for full stack developers, C#, .NET Core, AWS, and stuff like that as well. In terms of what we're looking for in the culture, I mean, what's the culture like? It's it's great to go and say we're looking for technology and stuff like that as well. But amongst the team, across partners and integration, I mean, what's the culture like?
I think the major traits you look for would be the desire to take ownership of certain things and take on responsibilities. And I don't mean essentially doing routine things and so forth, but feel that ownership on something. In terms of technology, I wouldn't say that we're limited to, let's say, knowing specific technology in and out, and that's all we need. Because in many cases, suitable technologies being picked by enterprise architecture or even including the teams themselves would involve learning curve for most of the team. Because technologies come out, let's say, every year, and there's no way you can know them upfront. So you're joining a company, there's new technology, you should apply it, and obviously the whole team would learn it. And it is, I think, an expectation on the management side as well that there will be some time involved in that. So,
and so, like, and I know we've hired developers that wouldn't be coming from an AWS environment as well before. For someone that hasn't got the AWS piece, maybe someone coming in with some, let's say, Azure, so they're a heavy C# .NET guy coming in or girl coming in, but they haven't got the AWS experience. I mean, is there any sort of, how do you think they'd fit in, and do you think it would take them long to get up to speed?
No, majority of cloud providers, I believe, supply somewhat similar functionality and technologies to achieve certain things. Obviously, they name differently, they act slightly different, but the approach is somewhat similar to serverless across all three major cloud providers. The only thing changes is, let's say, how we interview those people or how we look at them, because it's pointless to ask them about AWS if they work with, let's say, Google Cloud or Azure. So we try to tailor questions to those if we can, if we have knowledge inside ourselves. Just to grasp in like the broad of knowledge, I guess, of the candidate and see if they're how comprehensive their knowledge of the cloud is.
And do you think there's much of a learning gap for someone coming in that has no AWS? Are we talking it's something that you could pick up in 3-6 months time, or what sort of time frame you kind of?
Well, I guess it depends on your overall style of learning. Like some people are really eager to jump into something and just kind of swim in whatever they can get their hands on. Or some people would have an experience, let's say, with Google Cloud. Obviously, the learning curve for them would be shorter and not that steep, because they would know the approach in general, and it's just for them it would be more of a initially probably transposition of naming, like what is what in cloud in Google and what is cloud in Amazon. For those who don't have any cloud experience, it obviously will take longer. But I think nowadays most people would have some experience, and at least on personal level.
There's a lot of on-the-job learning to it as well. But I mean, someone like yourself, look, you're at the principal level. You're a very, very senior guy, lots of experience. How do you go about learning new technology? So if we were to adapt something new tomorrow, how do you as an individual go about it yourself then? Any secrets?
There are secrets there. I think for most of first timers, like if it's something just appeared, I would generally try to read what that is and what's it about from the company itself. Let's say if we're talking about AWS technology, what that new thing is for, at least intended. And then to see what principle is based on. Because then you can adjust, let's say, even though it's not intended for the use, you may pick it for something else.
And so in terms of learning and growing and development as well, I'm sure there's a lot of support amongst the team. So, developers coming in that would probably be less experienced, that have the likes of yourself to look to as a mentor and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, we try at least to informally assign mentors to junior engineers or just new joiners in common.
Yeah.
I think the time you spend on something is not directly counted towards that learning, because we tend to give people something to work on, knowing that they may need some time to absorb that new information, including the practices and technologies we use inside of the company and the approaches. So you would get your hands on something and learn while you go, without being pushed too much. And obviously you have someone like me, maybe, who you can just ask questions, simple, large.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So any .NET developers out there with C#, .NET Core, Angular on the front end, and whether you are AWS or Azure, come talk to us, because you can have a conversation with Lav about the environment and put the learning paths in place as well. I'm not going to take up too much more of your time, but I just wanted to have a quick little chat about, obviously the sun is shining, you're in the office today, we're in the office today, we function a hybrid environment, which is, I love it, and you seem to be fairly like myself as well in terms of being in the office a lot.
This is just by accident. Initially, before company adopted hybrid, before the COVID pandemic, I was one of the biggest promoters of work from home. I was mentioning on all the
cut.
I was mentioning it literally on every meetings with senior management or with all hands, all those things. Like, what do you want? We want that, and I was pushing for that. However, the reality is when I picked the school, I picked it based on the office location, because I didn't know if it's going to happen. So the school is nearby the office, and now I'm being given what I asked for years. I'm still coming every morning to the office because of the school.
So the school's locally. You drop on the way in.
I drop my kid to school, then come join the office till lunchtime. Finish lunch and do a school run home. And then continue from home.
So in general, then, what are you sort of in the office then? I know the team comes in, I think it's 2 days a month or something like that, but you come in and you're in five days a week or 4 days a week?
5 days a week. Every day, morning till lunch.
Yeah. And how does that, your structure then, you're obviously coming in, you get X, Y, Z done, you go off and pick the child up, drop the child home, then you log them back on. So you love that flexibility, a bit of.
Yeah, I mean, I think the great side of it is that you're not really forced to do one way or another. And I don't, at least from setup and configuration and everything else, it doesn't really feel any difference. So you can go to the office or you can go to home. Sometimes day in the office are quieter, so I know that some folks prefer to just come in the office because it's a place to be in a kind of working mode. You can isolate yourself and just dig in.
And your home setup, have you got the 2 or 3 screens? What just we have here?
Just one. I use it here as one as well. I know we have 2, and some people put some distractions like Slack or email, some of that, but I use only one.
So we're spoiled here, really, with all the screens we have.
I don't know. Like a lot of people use them. I don't. I use them.
So come here, look. Again, it's hybrid. Everyone's in, so I know you want to get across to the food market, as do I. But like I said, look, we're out to the market. We're talking to developers and so forth. If you were to summarize why someone with 5+ or 2, 3, 5+ years experience, why should somebody watching this reach out to the TA team, whether it be me, Padraig, Leon, or Brian? Why should they reach out to us? What are your words of wisdoms to the future Verizon Connect people?
I think, honestly, as was for me and what I see in the teams, is you have some flexibility in terms of what you want to work on. So you can, at least the teams I've been involved in, provide that option. But at the same time, you can take as much responsibility and ownership as you want. So if you can feel that sort of achievement and ownership of something
Yes.
if you want, as broad as you can, so you can take probably more than you can bear.
Yeah. So from concept straight through to implementation to roadmap.
Yeah, and
cradle to grave.
And I mean, there's certain areas as well. Like
Yeah.
you are the person to go to.
Yeah.
In relation to this area.
Yeah.
It can be even that.
Yeah.
For the whole company.
So if you're not talking to us, you should be talking to us. Really, is what you're saying.
Personally, yeah. As you can see, it's not here.
Yeah. No, I love it, Lev. Listen, it's been fantastic. Thank you very much for coming and joining us. And folks, there you have it. That was Fireside Friday for today. Don't forget, I'll be back on Tuesday coming for TA Tuesdays, where I'll be talking to someone else from across the TA team. But for now, I'm going to leave you with our credo. Take care.
Cheers.
This is our Verizon credo. It's inspired our culture for almost 20 years. Think of it as a note to self, our declaration of values, a guide for our day-to-day.
Everything we do, we build on a strong network,
systems, and process foundation.
We know our products
and can explain them to customers.
We make it easy for customers to do business with us.
By listening,
anticipating,
and responding.
Integrity is at the core
of who we are.
We know teamwork enables us to serve our customers better and faster.
We run to a crisis, not away.
We deliver superior customer experiences through our products and our actions.
This is our credo.
It keeps us grounded,
aligned,
doing the right things.
It's about who we are,
how we work,
and most of all, who we work for.
We focus outward.
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 We focus outward.
On the customer.